Man, that took forever. Hey, WANTrans here. Welcome to my third Platinum Arena Reset Push video. I'll be doing a voiceover for the footage to highlight my thought process throughout, and I'll be making comments about my performance and my opponent's defenses along the way. I hope this video can provide some new ideas to improve your own arena pushes in the future. Here we go. Alright, so like last week, we start to push off at around 20 minutes left of reset, and essentially this week we're bringing in back around the same type of composition, speed-based. Again, I've done a little bit of studying of the defense teams that people had up just before reset, and it looks like, again, this week, not too many Hegemon teams. So we're doing the classic Siphi boost into Kymar Sleep, into Madame Strip, and then finally Solus as a nuker. This week in particular, I actually pushed up the stats of Solus enough that I'm planning not to ever use my Savage trend again, simply because my Solus is able to dish out enough damage that I'm satisfied with. So here we notice a very slow base team, and because of the setup I have on my Kymar, he's actually very fast in speed gear and high accuracy, so what I can do is I can bring Warlord in instead of bringing Valkyrie, simply because I know I can outspeed the entire team. And this way I can put a lockout on everybody, and then now swift parry or reaction no longer becomes an issue. So this is just like a conscious decision I decided to make, and it pays off really well simply because you can abuse people who are trying to make slower base teams that try to survive by using the reaction meta. So we see here a Cantrifon team, fairly high resistance. However, because I can run a very slow Madame, I'm able to push a lot of accuracy on her, and this way, resisting my Madame becomes more of a trivial concern. As we can see, Solus is doing enough work here to demolish the team, even though there was a Necrit. Quick 21-second farm there, not bad. Again, we see another Cantrifon based team, very popular lately simply because I think a lot of people are using Trunda, and of course having a force counter to it is the most reliable solution as far as defense is concerned. So we're just getting that reset there. Decided to hold off using Madame's Strip simply because I seen that Duchess had an unkillable on her, but it didn't matter, I didn't really need it. And then just a quick look at my defense, looks like the guy from GNL, Gandalf, he doesn't really like me it seems, because he's been spamming my defense without success, however, but still. 4 or 5 times in a row, that's a sign that somebody doesn't like you. So again, another slow base team here. I think this reset in particular, there's quite a few of these number of teams where I'm able to actually bring in my Warlord and just secure a guaranteed victory this way. So my recommendation is for anybody deciding to build a new defense for the upcoming reset, it's to not build a defense that is so slow based that somebody can just bring an additional support unit, such as like a Warlord, without having any concern as far as speed is concerned. So again, we see a double force team here, Rector Draft and Cantrifon. No big deal, because we're using Solus as the void-based nuker. And again, with the defense up, combined from Siphi across my whole team, I'm able to tank up, or tank out, I should say, that Cantrifon without issue. Quick cleanup there, 30 seconds. Very respectable. And then we see another speed-based team here, with Arbiter and Siphi as a booster into Warlord as the lockout. However, I do have a decent speed on my Siphi, so I'm able to safely go ahead of them and bring them down just like this. Do a quick rinse and repeat, quick 20-second farm there, and then we move on. And we see a higher resistance-based team here. You'll notice that later on in my push, I do get stalled by a team setup that's very similar to this, simply because with fast Kymar, you're sacrificing a lot of potential accuracy you can place on him, and because of that, when people build a higher resistance overall team, it becomes more of an issue of whether or not you can actually sleep them. And if your sleep is unsuccessful on them, then it becomes a problem because Warlord can successfully lock you out. And because you're running such a slow Madame and slow Nuker in this case, or in my setup in this case, it becomes an issue simply because while you're trying to counter the reaction meta, you're also trying to be quick enough such that you're able to kill the team before they're able to do any type of lockout on you, such as like a Warlord lockout. So again here, you'll notice that people are building these very slow base teams, it seems. And again, I'm bringing in my Warlord just as extra measure of insurance, both for his heals and shields and block debuffs, as well as his lockout skill mainly. So decent half a minute farm there. Then we move on, looking for new opponents. About 15 minutes left for reset now. Again, a very slow base team, able to bring in Warlord just fine. The more annoying part, I guess, as far as using Warlord is concerned, is sometimes he has like a 50% chance to decrease the turn meter of the target, and currently, as it stands with the reaction meta, it's not actually ideal for him to do that, because that means the opponent's units didn't actually get a chance to get a turn, and because of that, reaction is still actually active on them. However, no big deal here. We'll notice that there's another Gurko team, and this week I pushed up the accuracy on my Solus a little bit more, so I'm trying to rely on it so that even if Swift Parry procs on Gurko, I'm able to crowd control him and prevent my team from getting stripped out. And then their Duchess here is actually so dang slow, I think I'm able to just cut right in front of her before she even has a chance to revive. So I think that while you can make a really slow Duchess and take advantage of the reaction accessory procs, you also want a fair balance of enough speed so that you're able to actually revive your team if they get nuked out. So this is a team where I had trouble here against Panda's team. Their whole team resisted my Kymar, and because of that, there was 3 out of 4 people that still had the block debuffs buff on them, and that primes Warlord's ability, the A3 ability to lock up my team. You'll see a little bit earlier I was planning on like just leaving the battle, but I thought that because there was still a fair amount of time left in this reset, I wanted to play my chances and just play smart, try to still pull a victory out of this battle. And you'll see I'm trying to focus very specific targets and sleep very specific targets to try to cycle my turns around before their Warlord gets a chance to cycle another turn. And as you can see, my Kymar is just completely ineffective because it looks like Panda's built a team that's 700 or so resistance plus, combined with CP's resistance aura. So that's something I gotta take into consideration for upcoming resets and find a sufficient counter for. But as you'll see here, I'm just trying to slowly grind this team through. And here I get a chance to squeeze my Madame's strip off, and while still having my Solus's nuke up, and I'm able to actually snipe out the Duchess, and unfortunately that Warlord is in Swift Parry as well, so again I'm stuck for another cycle of trying to cycle my turns around before their Warlord gets a chance to put another lockout on me. We knock out the Duchess there, just slowly trying to pick apart the team. As you can see, like being locked out by Warlord isn't be all end all. If you're able to actually choose who you want to attack very methodically, you're able to still squeeze a victory out of it. However, it does mean that you're looking at upwards around sometimes 2 to 3 minutes even. And I think for this battle in particular, I was stuck in this battle for honestly around 3 minutes, which really is not ideal. So I think here we managed to finally squeeze through, get our turns back, our cooldowns off, and we're able to control the rest of the battle. And then that Tormund, I really thought that he already revived, however, there's his revive, and this is already like nearly 3 minutes. So, very not ideal. So, right at this point, I make a mental note of myself to not continue attacking this team for this reset, simply because I know that I don't have the sufficient counter for it. So, for this reset in particular, I did make a sufficient Hegemon counter, and I noticed there that one Hegemon team I decided to skip simply because it had Ursuka, and a lot of people run reaction Guardian set Ursuka, and it could be a problem, combined with a high resistance value of like 350. Decided to make the wise choice of skipping it simply because I was stalled enough already from Panda's defense. So as we can see there, they ran just crowd control based Hegemon, and I'm able to provoke the team and clean it up from here. You'll notice that I was honestly a little bit worried at this point right here, because I didn't know if my Trunda's A3 could actually nuke through everything here. But it looks like I was able to just squeeze that through and pull out the victory. 30 seconds, which is sufficient. I'm not sure why I backed out of that battle there, to be honest. I could have just used my Kymar Valkyrie setup, but I guess that wasn't really in my mind during this reset, and I was a little bit out of it after being delayed so hard from Panda's defense, so I'm just rushing here to try to make up for it. So I'm just doing teams that I'm comfortable with, and sometimes, while it may be a little bit, I guess, more on the boring side to be using the same type of offense team over and over, I feel it's generally a good setup to have around 2 to 3 different offense setups that you're very comfortable with and that you just stick to. And then that's essentially your game plan for the whole reset. Simply because if you have like 10 different options and along with the pressure during reset, sometimes you get flustered and you're not sure what exactly you're supposed to be using. And then it becomes more of a hindrance rather than a benefit to have that flexibility. So we're just looking around here, looking for a new opponent. This team is very interesting, I find. There's the combined protection from Ursuka, the 30% damage soak due to critical hits. As well, we have Iron Brago here, which is just boosting the overall team's defense. So I found that this team was sufficiently tanky, and unfortunately I missed the defense down there on Duchess, so I decided to just whack out that Candrafon and not wake her up, but unfortunately I forgot that there was a poison on her, and she ended up waking up anyways. So I'm looking at upwards about 50 seconds for this battle now because I still have to clean up. And looks like Iron Brago, his passive defense boost on the team, is actually doing a decent job. It's making that Duchess very tanky. And I'm able to finally clean that up in with 50 seconds to remain. Again, we'll see another slower base team setup. So I'm bringing in my Warlord again. Lots of Tormund Sythalia combos. It's kind of interesting. I think Deegs or Wantamess originally used that defense team, and I guess it collected a fair bit of popularity. However, when you're so slow like that, you're looking at a quick 18-second farm there. So just quick look at my defense. Notice that Panda, among others, are hitting me, so looks like my defense for this week wasn't potentially as good as it could be. but still a little bit early to say because the total amount of battles sustained wasn't even that much. So from a small sample size, sometimes it's hard to determine whether or not your defense was actually a bad defense, or whether people just coincidentally had solutions to it this week. So again, another Necrit team here is able to pull off 2 protections. Surprisingly, I'm able to snipe out the Warlord despite him being under ally protect. But the Duchess survived, and because she revived, I'm safely able to just nuke again, and even a Swift Parry proc, she already wasted her revive, and I'm able to clean up, so about 30-second farm there. We're down to the 5 minutes left mark of reset, and we're just looking around here. Notice that there's someone who's further down the list with higher point. So, see Boaks here, able to once again come in with my Warlord without having to change the team. And I think essentially all these Kaimor Warlord setups, as far as offense is concerned for myself, they were a quick 20 to 30 second farm, so it's really reliable when you're able to actually bring Warlord in, just to prevent any revives from happening even if Swift Parry procs on the opponent. So against T-Swift here, you'll notice that there's Black Knight, which is one of the rarer champions, I would say. You don't see too much on people's defense. He's able to squeeze in the defense up on everybody, and that's not ideal because it severely diminishes my damage output. But we're still trying to pull through here, saving my AoE here in case Duchess gets a chance to revive, and I'm expecting it now. And it happens. And that Duchess just has a crazy amount of resist and is just pure out resisting my Madame, even though my Madame has, I would say, about close to 800 accuracy because I'm running her so slow. But despite that, that Duchess, I would say, probably consistently has 850 plus resistance at least. Or possibly I was just unlucky, but either or, we're able to finish this battle with like a 1 minute time mark, which is quite long and not ideal. So I'm trying to rush here, trying to make up for it as we're crunching down to the last 3 minutes. So another classic Necrit Warlord team. Exactly, it's almost like deja vu actually. I think I fought this exact same team. Duchess had pretty much the exact same health remaining the last time I hit her, and then she's able to revive the team, but thankfully I'm able to reset and re-nuke the entire team. However, I don't think I did enough damage here to actually proc her Swift Parry, but doesn't matter. The Solis' A1 stun came in handy and got her crowd controlled, and that was about a 40-second grab. Looks like another Iron Brago setup. Can't remember if this was the same one as before. However, we're giving it another shot here. Unfortunately, Necrit resisted there, so he's able to survive my nuke. However, my Provoke came in handy and actually activated on everyone, so I'm able to crowd control him and cycle back. And we're praying here that no Swift Parry procced. However, I think it did on Duchess there. However, my Solis A2 strip came in clutch there and I was able to finish her off. Another Ursica team here. Thankfully I'm able to push enough DPS on my Solis that I'm able to disregard any support units such as that for this reset, and I'm able to do sufficient damage to nuke him out. So, fortunately, my block debuffs fell off my units. Was hoping that Siphi would cleanse the freeze off my Solis there to save me a little bit of time. However, it didn't happen, but it's not a big deal. And then Swift Parry procs again, making it even slower. And then Siphi there decides to buff instead of finishing off Tormund, which costed me another 2 or so seconds, which honestly is not a huge deal, but it's just silly AI in my opinion. So we're down to the last minute now. Just scanning for defenses here. Notice finally we see a Hegemon team, and I was really looking forward to using my Hegemon counter this reset. And as you can see, this is one of the classic revive comps that they're able to use Immunity Molly, and even if your nuker dies, you're able to still revive her, double boost, cut in, do a crowd control provoke from Molly, and nuke the enemy team out. And then thankfully that provoke stayed, and that was able to allow me to pull in and finish her off before she had a chance to revive, even though Swift Parry proc on her. So I think this is the last battle able to squeeze in just a classic higher resist Krisk Protection Warlord Siphi team. So we're just gonna bring in my classic rinse and repeat team. Unfortunately, reaction procs there. Quickly do a reset, and then unfortunately here, Warlord's Swift Parry procs, and I was like, dang, maybe I'm not going to be able to squeeze this last battle in simply because of that extra low delay, but thankfully he counted, and I was able to get that extra 7 points in just as reset finished. We're looking around now, just taking a quick look at my defense log. Looks like Gandalf was just relentless on me throughout the entire reset. Panda hit me a few times, but overall, not too many people attacked me, so I was fairly okay with my defense this week. It seemed like it performed okay as far as countering Gandalf, but as far as countering double Rotos, it wasn't designed for that, so seeing that it was failing against Panda, not a big deal. We'll collect our placement, and we finish 8th, which is not bad. I think this reset in particular, most of my pieces that I've obtained were actually really bad, so it was essentially a waste of a reset, unfortunately. I mean, that glove was fine, but yeah, essentially that was the conclusion of this reset. I hope you enjoyed my Arena reset push this week. I'll have new Platinum Arena reset videos dropping with every reset, and a lot more offense combo showcases as they come to my mind that counter Platinum Arena level defenses on my channel in the near future. So if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing so you don't miss future uploads. Of course, I appreciate you all, and until next week, WAN Trans out.